So good morning, everyone.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
teacher.
All right. So how are you
Morning, teacher.
today?
I am okay, and you?
All right. So I am okay too. So what is today? Today is
Day
Monday. Very
Monday.
good. So what is our subject for this hour? Our subject is
Science.
science. Okay, Gal. Kindly spell science.
SCIENC.
All right, very good, Gal. Okay, so without further ado, let us start the class. All right, so everyone, please behave yourself. This day, our topic is all about how living things link to their environment. Okay, so last time we have discussed about living and non-living things. Am I right? Okay, so now we are going to discuss about how these living things link to their environment. So how is the relationship of these living things to their environment or the things around them? Okay, so again, this subject is science and it's for grade 5. Okay, so let's start with the vocabulary first. Okay, so number one, kindly read everyone. Number one, surroundings.
Surrounding.
Again, surroundings.
Surrounding. Surrounding.
Okay, so there is letter S here. So don't forget to pronounce letter S. So surroundings.
Surroundings.
All right, very good. Number two, habitat.
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 Okay. Number three, relationship.
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 Okay, very good. Again, relationship.
Relationship.
Okay, number four, human.
Human.
Okay, again, human.
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 Okay, so who are the humans? Are we humans? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, number five, animals.
Animal. Animals.
All right, very good. Number six, parasite.
Parasite.
Okay, again, parasite.
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 All right, number seven, grassland.
Grassland.
Okay, again, grassland.
Grassland.
Okay, number eight,
Grassland.
community.
Community.
Okay, again, community.
Community.
All right, very good. Number 10, environment.
Environment.
Okay, again, environment.
Environment.
All right, very good. Number 10, reproduce.
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 Okay, again, reproduce.
Reproduce.
Do's. Okay, very good. So those are the vocabulary words of our topic for today. So I want Gao to please spell number 3. Kindly spell number 3, relationship. Letter R.
ELATIONFHI.
P. Okay, very good. Next, Okay, kindly unmute yourself, and please spell number 6, parasite.
Parasite.
All right. Next, jump. Okay, kindly unmute yourself and spell number 9. Number 9.
ENVIRONMENT.
All right, very good. All right, so those are the vocabularies of our topic for today. So let's move on to the discussion. Okay. How living things link to their environment. Okay, so how these living things connect to their environment. Okay, so in our surroundings, we can find living things like human, animals, and plants. So these are the living things, right? And non-living things like rocks, soil, and water. Okay. Living things need to have a relationship. Okay, again, relationship or the connection with other living things and non-living things in their habitat. Okay. So these relationships are important for their life and living. Okay, so for us living things, we need to have a connection to other living things and non-living things. Okay, so that relationship is important for us to live, okay, or for us to survive. All right. Okay, so what is habitat? Okay, so a habitat is a place where plants and animals normally live. Okay, so it is where we live. Okay, it's what we call habitat, right? So some habitats have a lot of plants and animals. Some do not. Okay, some habitats near water and some are on top of mountains. Okay, every habitat has a different group of living things. Okay, so when there are two or more groups of living things in it, we call it a community. Okay, so examples of habitats are lakes, seas, grasslands, and mangrove forests. Okay, so these are examples of habitats. Okay, it is where the living things live. Okay, now let's say, for example, the cows and the horses are living in the grasslands. Now this group is called a community. Okay, so since they are living in one habitat. Okay, so that is what we call a community. The relationship between living things. So in every habitat, there is more than one kind of living things living together, and they are linked to one another. Okay, so this group of living things is called a community. So again, it's what we have discussed lately. So the relationships found in a community come from types of living things and the habitat they live in. Okay, so the relationship can be grouped into 4 types as follows. Okay, so there are 4 types of relationships. Okay, so we have here number 1, the relationship of living space. A forest is a habitat for many kinds of plants. Okay, example, ironwood, bamboo tree, teak wood, and pines wood, and for many kinds of animals. Examples, elephants, tigers, bears, and deer. Okay, so the relationship of living space. So when we say living space, it is where the place they live, or it's the space where they live. Okay, so we have here examples of a deer in the forest, tiger, and an elephant. Okay, next we have more examples here. Right, so a tree is also a habitat for some animals. Okay, examples, gibbons, birds, ants, bees, and for some plants. Examples, wild orchids and parasitic plants. Okay, so we have here an example. Okay, we have a squirrel. So a squirrel here is living in the tree. And also this one, gibbons and wild orchid. So that is the relationship of living space. Okay, so it is the relationship of that living thing into the space where he or she lives in. Okay, next, number 2, okay, the relationship of food sources. Okay, when we say food sources, okay, these are where the foods are coming from. Okay, So the living things in every community link to each other by how they feed. Okay. Sources of food can be found in nature. Okay. Examples. Fishes are sources of food for egrets. Okay. So as you can see, the egret here is eating the fish. Okay. So it is a food. These fishes are sources of food for egrets. Okay. Next, we have grass is a source of food for cattle, right? So the cattle is eating the grass. Okay, so it is a food source for the cattle. Okay, next, deer are sources of food for tigers. Okay, so again, the deer are sources of food for tigers and lions. Okay. Next, we also have another example here. Maize are sources of food for grasshoppers and birds. Okay, so when we say maize, okay, it is same as corn. Okay, so maize is also called corn. All right. And worms and earthworms are sources of food for birds. Okay, so these worms and earthworms are sources of food for birds. Okay, so that is their relationship. Okay, so their relationship is the relationship of food sources. All right, number 3. Okay, the relationship of shelter. Okay, so a clownfish is hiding in anemone. Okay, so some animals use their habitat as their hiding space. Okay, so it is their shelter. So example, clownfish hide in anemone. Okay, so as you can see here, the fish is hiding in the anemone. All right, mudskippers and other water animals hide in the mangrove forest. Okay, so the mudskippers and the water animals is hiding in the mangrove forest, and other animals hide in a jungle. All right, so that is the relationship of shelter. Okay, next, number 4 is the relationship of breeding and nursery sites. Okay, so when we say breeding and nursery sites, it is where they will make their babies. They will reproduce. They will make their own young. Okay. So all living things must breed or reproduce to keep their species going. So this is the law of nature. Animals use their environment to look after and nurse their young until they grow big. Okay, so examples, birds nurse their young in their nest built on tree branches. Okay, so we have here a nest on a tree branches, okay, where this bird can nurse his or her young. Okay, next, so that is the relationship of breeding and nursery sites. Okay. Let's move on to the next. All right, next is the relationship between living things and non-living things. For their living things have to rely on non-living things. Okay, examples, living things use land and water sources as living spaces, and living things breathe in oxygen. Okay. A community of living things is linked to the physical environment as follows. Okay, so let's further see the relationship of these living things and non-living things. All right, so let's see. First one is the light. Okay, so what's the use of the light to the living things? Right, so light is important in making food. Okay, so that is called photosynthesis. Plants that have chlorophyll need light to make food. Okay, Also, light controls the way some animals do things. Okay, examples. Some animals hunt during the day while others hunt at night. Okay, so some animals hunt during the day and others will hunt at night. Okay, so again, sunlight, it is important for the plants to make food, right? And also it will control, okay, the way the animals do things. Next is air. What's the use of the air? Okay, so air is important to all living things. Okay, it is all important for the living things. Humans and animals breathe in oxygen, and plants need carbon dioxide to make food or photosynthesis. Okay, so aside from the light, okay, this plant also need carbon dioxide. Okay, and also this oxygen is really need for us humans and animals for us to breathe. Do we need oxygen for us to live? Yes or no? Grade 5? Okay.
Yeah.
What happened to us if there is no air or oxygen? What will happen to us? We will die. Yes or no?
Bye. Yeah.
Next. All right. How about temperature? Okay. So we can find many kinds of living things in areas with good temperatures. Temperature controls the structures or features of living things. Okay. Examples. Animals living in cold places have long fur and thick fat layer under their skins. Okay, so this bear is living in the North Pole, where in the North Pole it is very cold, right? So that's why this bear have a long fur and thick fat. Okay, so this thick fat will will control the body temperature of the bear. Next is water. So water is important to all living things. Water is a habitat and a source of food for aquatic plants and aquatic animals. So since they said that the water, it's a habitat also for aquatic animals and aquatic plants. Can you give me an examples of those things? So when we say aquatic plants and animals, these are the plants and animals that are living on the water. So what are those? Can you give me an example?
Penguin.
Penguin. Okay, what else? Very good, August.
Shark.
Shark. Ashita,
Dolphin.
thank you so much.
Crab. Crab.
Dolphin.
Dolphin. Very good. Okay, what else?
Nemo.
Nemo. That is clownfish. Nemo is a clownfish. Okay, how about plants? So what are the plants living in the water?
Plankton.
Plankton, okay.
Seaweed.
Seaweed, very good. Seaweed. Okay, so that is how the water important to all the living things. Okay, next, the last one is soil and minerals. Okay, soil and minerals. So soil is important for plants to grow. So plants get important minerals from the soil. It is also a habitat for some animals. Okay, so what are the animals that are living in the soil? We have here earthworms, right? Earthworms. Okay, so again, the soil is important for us because it is where the plants to grow, okay, and it will give important minerals. Okay, so next we have an activity here it is in page 27. So what kind of relationships are there in the pictures? So I already wrote here the answer. So number 1, a turtle living on water is a link between, okay, so we are going to choose the answer here. So 2 living things or The next option is a living thing and non-living thing. So what do you think is the answer? The turtle and water. Are they both living things? Are they two living things? Or a living thing and a non-living thing?
living thing,
Living thing and non-living thing, right? Since water is not a living thing. So that's why we are going to check the second circle. Okay, check the second circle.